speaking of 40-watt range, threw down a nice PB just a few days ago with a 524. So I expect a really good matchup between Firebroth and Oopla there. So should be a good one. And then you've got E.T. Goham, who also is a sub-6 runner with a 555, versus Aquas, who just put together a 541 last week. I tell you what, Aquas has been putting in the work. In fact, he's been dabbling in normal percent right now. So I tell you what, the way he's been playing, it wouldn't surprise me if we might even see him emerge from the second chance bracket into the finals.
And I got to tell you, Cars, while you ran that down, they played through the first room here. We are underway. It's less than a second lead right now for Mr. Dino. His timer is running slightly ahead of Xexzy, and since Mr. Dino is the restreamer, there won't be any adjusts as we go, so we'll have to deal with potential timer issues popping up. And man, early weapon favoritism to Mr. Dino.
But not to be outdone, Xexzy getting some vitamin R on the left side. Both of the players playing as player one. Foot for Xexzy, going to go ahead and pick it up to boost his speed. But Mr. Dino with the Razor Shield, so he'll be able to gain control of the middle. And look at this, he's going to be out, even without an orb, a 122. That's still a pretty good time. Xexzy, not that far behind, he's going to have a 126, about 4.5 seconds back.
One rocket like that can really carry you through collect power-ups, but you want to see that orb sooner than later. You can get away with one more room of not having it, but the longer you go, the harder it is to not bleed time.
And it is going to be Xexzy, the first one to pick up an orb, but Mr. Down getting no drops, and vulnerability followed up by a key and a key for Xexzy as well.
I like that nuke by Mr. Dino. Takes a small time penalty, but forces potential extra drops here in Eat My Shrapnel. Really hoping to see that orb, but not going to get it appears, as Xexzy is going to be out in, about 210 it appears.
They're now about dead even, but the fact of the matter is Xexzy took the lead just because the weapon drops completely favored him, and he had that orb. So now Mr. Dino, the longer he goes without an orb, that lead is going to grow for Xexzy.
Walks into a shrapnel piece, but gets a nice drop right where he died. Good thing he didn't pick that up first. These rockets, and then an orb. Wow, look at that. Great stuff here for Mr. Dino.
And more rockets now for Mr. Dino, so that might have been one of those quote-unquote manipulation deaths that Mr. Dino took, because he is right there with Xexzy in this room.
And more vitamin R. He was trying to save it for a second, decides to get it now. Xexzy firing away with a spreader. Should have the lead out of this room, I would say, but these rockets have made a huge difference for Dino.
Yeah, he's trying to get to the spreader, decides to ignore it. Probably not a bad idea considering that it was too close to the south part of that door. Could have easily lost that orb right there, and it is really, really close. But Xexzy is going to keep the lead, but we're talking 2 seconds, 307 versus 309. As for the first time today, it is time for product placement. Oh, Taco Bell, product placement with Taco Bell.
And just real quickly throwing out, thank you very much for the raid, Evil Elf. Welcome everyone from there. There is 2 elimination matches today. Best of 7 on the races here. Starting out with Xexzy and Mr. Dino. This is indeed the first race of the day. Our first tank trouble. Let's see who does not have trouble with these tanks.
Well, Mr. Dino is having trouble as he loses the orb, then gets clubbed down, picking up the spreader there. A Razor Shield. Xexzy did lose the orb. Neither player ended up getting a good opening drop, so I think that had a lot to do with what happened there.
Mr. Dino, that last tank bullet, his invulnerability ran out right after he walked into it. If he'd been a frame or two slower, he would have died.
Yep, and sometimes one frame is all it takes. A replacement orb for Mr. Dino in kind of a tough spot. He's able to pick it up. Can he get control of the middle? Yeah, that was really good movement. Very nice. Oh, that shrapnel almost picked him off there. Span some really good movement. I mean, he's looking real sharp this late part of the game. However, it is going to be Xexzy coming out first just because you didn't take any deaths there. 429. Mr. Dino still has some cleanup, but again, not that far behind. It's going to be about a 440, I believe. 440, a high 440, called about 11 seconds.
Wouldn't that be more like 15 seconds? I thought it was 425 he was out.
Was it 425?
Maybe I'm wrong, but either way, we got a ball buster from Xexzy, who was the early worker on the ball buster strategies, and gets a spreader.
Wow. Now he is going to have to deal with that gunner who might cost him a little bit, but he's trying to do his best.
Oh, I thought he got grenades on the feet for a second there, but no, he's really pushing her. Should have gone for that lobber. There wasn't enough left in the spreader. A bit of a mistake there from Xexzy.
And he pays full price.
Oh, no. You hate to see it.
And now we got a form tie between the two. Rockets should be able to take down. Oh, but gets shot.
Might still get the refill, but yeah, got picked off by that gunner. A real unfortunate quick snipe. And there's a spreader there, but Xexzy can't get to it. Does grab it there with the invulnerability push.
As Mr. Dino gets run over, he won't be able to get to that lobber. So right now, Xexzy with the lead. Head pops off for Xexzy, so grenades now. Lobber, it's about
this
a...
is the kill shot.
Wow!
This is the kill shot. Xexzy, barring a disaster, is going to take race number 1.
I agree with you there. Just the spreader upon spreaders. Final form, did he get enough transfer damage to lock it up with these grenades? Yes, he did.
Great patience from Xexzy there. Just backed off a little bit to let that shrapnel explode. Didn't risk the death. Trying to operate in close. And Xexzy is going to take the opening salvo here. It'll be a 1-0 lead as we get Mr. Dino to the finish line, and then we get ready for race number 2.
Good spreader here for Mr. Dino. Just going to be a little bit too late here. Should be able to get some transfer damage, some good transfer damage here as we're now at the final form. This spreader should do it for Mr. Dino, and it does. So it'll be about 30 seconds back. Both of them getting spreaders when they needed it, but Xexzy getting the prime real estate locations, whereas Mr. Dino kind of up into the hills.
That opening ball buster really set the stage for Xexzy. That mistake with the no lobber grab and then the empty drop opened the door, but that second spreader slammed it shut, and Xexzy is up 1-0.
All right, so very good match between both of them. I mean, they were pretty close coming into the Mutoid Man fight, so... you know, if we have a moderator here, and I do see 40-watt range, I got a question. Do you think Mr. Dino is going to tie this up and essentially make it a best of 5, or will Xexzy take a commanding 2-0 lead in this elimination showdown?
I actually see Dino tying this one up personally. He's going to have to play a little better in the regular arena. You don't necessarily lose by having a bad regular arena, but you play bad in the regular rooms, you've put yourself at the mercy of RNG. And you not only need good RNG, but your opponent needs bad RNG on the boss.
Absolutely, no question about it. Yeah, you want to be going into that Mutoid Man fight ahead so that if you do get dealt some bad RNG, you've got some leeway, and you just have to hope that your opponent doesn't get that prime spreader drop. Unfortunately for Mr. Dino, that's exactly what happened with Xexzy, so he's up 1-0. But you know what? It's early. I see Mr. Dino equalizing here.
One would think, but you never know. We'll have to wait and see what the game's going to deal out. Mr. Dino wants to see an earlier orb. That is for sure. The countdown has been given. Cards, we should be underway momentarily. Race number 2 in this best of 7 elimination match. The winner moves on to the $20 stage. The loser will take $15 home as the first person in the tournament to take some money. And I see there's a prediction started in the chat.
Absolutely here. So here we go with Arena 1. Both of them have their Razor Shield manipulations there. And both of them starting on the right side of the room. Now Mr. Dino heading towards the center, as does Xexzy. So it's just going to be a matter of who's able to get the foot soldiers down first. And a nuke for Mr. Dino. Is he going to utilize it? He does. Not quite the end of the room there, but they're dead even.
You love to see it there. Pardon me, I was just gambling in the chat, putting my channel points where my mouth is. Mr. Dino getting some support from this commentator. Let's see what they get for opening drops here in Collect Power-Ups. A nuke versus a grenade. Neither one's great. Dino appears to be going with the strategy I prefer. Chase as many drops as you can to get that orb. Xexzy ignoring that nuke.
Yep, rockets now for Xexzy. Clearly a better weapon than what Mr. Dino's been getting, who's been getting a lot of grenades, but no orb. And now a Razor Shield as the rich are getting richer here, Bri.
Man, Dino is getting grenades and feet all over the place. Meanwhile, Xexzy riding that Vitamin R train to a 123. Smoking hot opener there, considering. In good nuke here by Dino. I don't think it's the very... Oh, it is the end of the room. It worked out perfectly.
Yeah, he's 10 seconds behind, and he did absolutely nothing wrong, Bryce. It's just that he got horrible drops.
He sure did, but keep in mind, neither one has an orb, at least till now.
Yep, Mr. Dino, now the game starting to maybe turn the tides. A razor shield for Xexzy, but Mr. Dino now looking to get some weapons to complement that orb, and that grenade is not going to be something he's going to want to pick up. Xexzy going to ignore the grenades, wants to keep the middle, and there's the vitamin R for Dino.
Probably didn't need it, but yeah, things are getting a little hairy. It's nice to get it. You control the room easily. And as you see, Xexzy, despite having a sizable lead, no orb. The longer this goes on, the more this gap is going to close. Let's see what he gets here. He does get an orb. It's not an easy spot to grab. Patiently firing out the enemy, so that lead should be safe with good play.
Yep, and now Vitamin R, the game rewards Xexzy for his patience there. Dino did cut about 3 seconds into that lead, though, to 7 seconds, but Mr. Dino needs to make sure he keeps control of the middle. Don't drop that orb, because as long as Xexzy continues to keep the middle, get good weapons, he'll keep that lead.
Ignores the nuke there, not against that play this early in the room, not for it. You could have possibly used that, but it's such a min-max thing at this point. It didn't really hurt him. That razor shield is a nice pickup.
Yep, it was in a kind of a difficult spot, but Mr. Dino was able to get to it. Now regains control of the middle. Xexzy continued to keep control of the middle. The weapons have kind of been dry on both sides, but Xexzy will be first with the 305. Mr. Dino going to use that. It was the end of the room!
Fantastic nuke, fantastic, and gains 2 more seconds. So even though Xexzy got nice items, got the orb at the start, Mr. Dino gains more time, and you know what? I think it's time for some Taco Bell over there, Cards.
That's right. Don't drop the chalupa because it's Taco Bell. Taco Bell, product placement with Taco Bell.
Tank Trouble's next. Good.
I know. No weapon for Xexzy to take with him, and gets an invulnerability, so not really anything to write home about. Dino rockets, but in kind of a tough spot. He gets to it, though.
Bit of an odd choice to not grab that invulnerability. Good routing. Unfortunately, though, it caught up to him, and Xexzy drops the orb to get the rockets. Not the end of the world, but needs to see those weapons keep flowing here.
Vulnerability for Dino, back-to-back invulnerabilities that would protect him from the bullets, but not from the foot soldiers stealing that orb. So right now, Mr. Dino, this is typical tank trouble drops now after the rockets there. Here's a razor shield for Xexzy.
The grenades made that dicey, but he managed to keep the tank. Now a nuke on the feet, not bad. In this room, the spawn rate's high enough. Those nukes are generally very nice.
Oh, and Mr. Dino loses the orb right at the end of the room, so he will not have an opportunity to do the ball buster. But however, we do have a lead change at 4:27. Xexzy is now 3-4 seconds back as that shrapnel exploded.
A 4-second lead, hardly insurmountable, as we know. That's just one empty drop, so we'll have to wait.
Well, there you go. All you had to do is talk about it, and the situation presents itself. An empty drop,
What
a spreader.
Oh, he might not get that. It might be too far up.
Yep, blocked.
Take by Xexzy. It was too high up. Taking the death was not the play there.
Yep, a little bit of tunnel vision there for Xexzy. Now Mr. Dino going to have to go for some manuals here with one of the gunners still attached.
Doing a great job of walking around. And Xexzy gets a prime spreader, though.
Man, the real estate spreaders continue for Xexzy.
Good recognition by Xexzy. That lobber was in the way, so he switched sides and got a little more damage in, but did die. And now in invulnerability with his death invulnerability. That's not cool, game.
Yep, and Dino takes the lead as both arms are popped up, but one of the gunners are still attached. Dino trying to take it down.
He was trying to grab the invulnerability at the bottom of Mutoid, and Mutoid just ran him over before he picked it up.
Oh, speaking of Trolltoid, man, Mr. Dino getting shot, then blocks the grenades to give Xexzy an opening here. Another prime spreader! You've got to be bleeping me!
But here's the thing, Dino has been dealing damage, and there's an invulnerability for Dino!
Perfect!
What a payback! Look at this!
This is crazy!
Neck and neck! And now it's Dino with the lead. Can he get to the spreader? He does. He'll at least have a weapon, but he'll need one more. There wasn't a lot of transition.
Another empty drop for Xexzy. This is looking good for Mr. Dino to equalize. One more weapon ought to do it with these rockets. Mr. Dino on the verge of tying this up.
I would stick with those rockets. Yeah, didn't need to go for the lobber. It's all over. Mr. Dino's going to tie it up. Delicious channel points for me. 1-1. What a great opening couple races here in this opening match.
You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it.
You'll love it.
6:25 is the time for Mr. Dino. It's final form for Xexzy. So even though Xexzy got a couple of prime spreader locations, Mr. Dino doing a fantastic job with what he was given to work with, and Xexzy just going to throw the white flag. Wow.
Yeah, Xexzy really had some bad plays go that way. Just some of the things getting done there. Unable to get it. And honestly, the big swing was after Dino had that spreader and was manualing, they dropped an invulnerability right there where he could pick it up and just slam the damage to get to the final form. That was fantastic.
Yep, you better believe. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It started on the wrong foot for Xexzy when he chased that spreader in the beginning. You never chase a spreader there if it's right down the pipe because you're going to be blocked 100% of the time.
Plus, if you're really aggressive with it, you can go up there and manual. He doesn't vibrate until he's fully into the room. You just got to worry about the gunners, of course. So it's a bit of a trade-off. Either way, they're ready here, cards. I'm going to get them underway. We always say pivotal game 3. However, best of 7, not quite as important, but you want to be up 2-1. So you have that chance to get that stranglehold of 3-1.
Certainly, Bryce Elf. Yeah. To me, if Xexzy would have won game 2, then yeah, game 3 definitely would have been pivotal in Dino's case. But yeah, the pivotal game will come in game 4. So it's going to be interesting. Xexzy and Mr. Dino, both of them with a mid 6-minute time to start things off with their victories. I'm looking to see somebody get a sub 6 between these two.
Oh, absolutely. And who gets the first orb is the prediction, but there's not much time on it. Get your bets in now, and they'll be underway here momentarily. The countdown has been given. And one guy's moving, so we're going to have to remember there's going to be a gap here of a few seconds. In the case of a close finish, remember, Mr. Dino is about 3 seconds ahead of Xexzy on the feed.
Yeah, but at least the timers are accurate to those 3 seconds there, Bryce. So we shouldn't have to worry too much. Game number 3 is underway. Mr. Dino smartly ignoring the smart bomb as Xexzy's going to pick up a foot at the left side.
Both are now ignoring things, and I guess Dino, no, it just was a pause in the feed. I thought he was adjusting while he was waiting for the room to clear. It's a great opening here for Dino. That's a 39. Very nice.
Yeah, very good. Xexzy's going to find himself more than 2 seconds back. I'll call it 2.5 seconds going into collect power-ups. So let's see what Mr. Dino's first drop is going to be. An invulnerability. Again, not too bad when you don't have an orb. You can shred through the foot soldiers. Xexzy, let's see what his first drop is going to be. A foot. So nothing really to write home about.
Another invulnerability, and now a grenade for Dino. Unfortunately, no foot, which is a bad combo. Xexzy gets the first rocket again. You'll love to see that.
Yeah, the weapons have favored Xexzy so far, and now he gets the orb as the rich are getting richer. Mr. Dino's not really been getting any drops in collect powers.
Something at least, and it'll clean up the shrapnels, but maybe, nope, will be enough to finish the room out. So that'll be a 126. Let's see what Xexzy's going to get to, despite getting some decent drops. Only, you know what? Keeps
2 seconds. He's about 2 seconds. Yep. All right. So still a 2-second lead for Mr. Dino going into Eat My Shrapnel. Didn't talk about this, but Eat My Shrapnel, Mr. Shrapnel, 18 of them to take down. Only 4 of them can be on the screen at any given time. So you got to make sure you keep those guys under control. Otherwise, you're going to be bleeding time.
Dicey movement from Xexzy, keeping that orb alive there, but gets it done, gets away from the swirl. Now has the room controlled. Doesn't need to worry about any drops. Well, Mr. Dino still chasing and having trouble with these numbers. Needs to get them down now.
That invulnerability will help him out as he's going to be in there at 211. Xexzy is going to be in there at 211. They're tied, but Xexzy technically has the lead with that orb intact.
It's about a half second maybe difference. Already, though, I would say Xexzy has the lead just based on that orb. Razor Shield for Dino is nice. Spreader is nice, but needs to see something else here sooner than later. And now a Razor Shield for Xexzy.
Now an orb for Mr. Dino, so patience paying off, so he may at least be able to keep pace with Xexzy. It's all going to come down to who has better firing lanes and who gets the better weapon drops.
Mr. Dino could have used that nuke with 3 shrapnels on screen there. Always good to clean them up at this point in the room. Not exactly at the end, but nice to clean it up. But they exploded in good time, so nice of the game to do that.
Certainly. Oh, and the grenades on the feet. The sabotage!
He gets shrapneled! Mr. Dino takes one right in the feet. And down he goes, and Xexzy will be out first at 306.
Yeah, hate to see it there, Bryce. Mr. Dino going to be roughly 10 seconds behind. In fact, he is going to be 10 seconds behind at a 316. As again, it is time for Taco Bell. Taco Bell. Product placement with Taco Bell.
Incidentally, that's how long they cook the meat in Taco Bell.
You're probably not wrong there, Bryce. So Xexzy, let's see what his first drop is going to be. Has no weapon to take with him. It's invulnerability. We've seen a lot of those for tank drop. We haven't seen anything really good.
A bit of a mistake. He didn't clean out all the swarmers before he stepped up. And now the invulnerability runs out and he gets taken out by shrapnel. Meanwhile, Mr. Dino gets the Razor Shield. He can use this to clean up the two gunners at least. Just got to watch out for the tank.
Yeah, the tank, that's why they call it tank trouble. There are grenades for Dino, but gets shot trying to pick it up.
Taken down. He should be able to get rid of the gunner here. An orb pickup for Xexzy on the feet. Had no room for it to swing. Gone before he even probably realized it was there.
Rockets now for Xexzy in the bottom right corner. A spreader, but Mr. Dino gets Nancy Kerrigan by the purple shirt.
Unable to get there, too. Was just a little too far away, and now I'd say Xexzy has expanded the lead despite the early problems here in tank trouble.
Yep, the rockets, though, for Mr. Dino, he can at least use it to do some serious damage here. Xexzy not getting any weapons towards the end of this room. A spreader now for Mr. Dino, followed up by an invulnerability.
And look at this. It's going to be really close, but Mr. Dino will be out in 4:47. And Xexzy will be trailing here by a few seconds. It's going to be 4:50, about 3 seconds. It's been close the whole way. Let's see what Mutoid Man's going to serve up.
So despite a couple of deaths from Mr. Dino, the weapon quality favoring him and actually takes the lead. So yeah, let's see what the drops are going to be. A lobber to start. Invulnerability, not what you want to see if you're Xexzy.
Absolutely not, but we'll be able to just plow into Mutoid if the weapon is not showing. It is there. It's a lobber at the top. Both riding the lobber train here early, cards.
Yeah, these are some really good drops here that Mr. Dino is getting when you're not seeing that spreader. He actually needs to see a spreader soon here. He's going to... There's a spreader for Dino, but did he wait too long? No, he's good.
He's got it, and it lines up perfectly. We could see a glitchtoid. The weapon won't sabotage. That's going to be a glitchtoid for sure.
Yeah, you love to see those glitchtoid mans here. Mr. Dino building on that lead right now. Ribcage popping open already here. He's looking in prime shape to get a 2-1 lead in this match if the weapons keep coming. And now another spreader, but he's going to go for the manual because he had some invulnerability left.
He made the right choice on that one, and we got a manual from Xexzy here, popping the second arm as the head comes off for Mr. Dino. Mr. Dino does die. Let's see what the drop's going to be. It's a lobber. That's solid.
He'll take that. As he's on the penultimate form, Xexzy now, he's still quite a ways behind. Mr. Dino, he needs a spreader, Xexzy does, and he needs it now.
I don't even think a spreader can save him at this point, as Dino is back on the lobber train, just throwing shots with abandon. Ribcage pop for Xexzy, gets sniped.
Yeah, I'll get to those lobbers, but it's looking like Mr. Dino, and indeed, it will be Mr. Dino to take that third game. He's won 2 straight.
1-2 straight, and honestly, tank trouble, neither one's had a great tank trouble yet. It's been more about who has the better power-ups. I'm expecting somebody to dig deep and win a match just by having an excellent tank trouble, holding the middle.
Final form now for Xexzy, but yep, he's going to once again throw in the towel for game number 3 and just shrug it off and try better in game number 4. But right now, I mean, Mr. Dino... the RNG has flipped since game number 1. Xexzy was getting the good RNG in game number 1, but Mr. Dino's been getting it in 2 and 3. And you're absolutely right, Bryce. Neither have played to their full potential, particularly in tank trouble, but I expect this to change soon, and it really has to change for Xexzy, or he's going to be down 3-1.
You don't want to go down 3-1. That makes for a harsh time, but I think Xexzy's going to tie her up.
Wouldn't surprise me if Xexzy tied it up, but you know what? I've got this hunch. I think we're going to see Mr. Dino take that 3-1 lead.
I've given them the countdown. We'll be underway. You and chat can make your call in chat. Maybe there'll be a prediction here in a second or 5. Either way, guys, moments away from game number 4 in this elimination match. Loser takes $15. Winner moves to the $20 stage. And we'll await the winner of the match to follow this one. Telio1 versus Jackimus Wedge, whose PBs are like a half second apart. It's gonna be awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, win and you go to the $20 round. If you win that one, you guarantee yourself a sweet SNES controller courtesy of CHX.
Looking forward to those. People up top, I believe, are already into that stage. So, hey, I've already got a controller. That's fun. Either way, let's see what they've got here in game number 4. Both having a nuke too early by Dino. You want to have the score add up to 52,000 or more than that, excluding any prize pickups, which add 5,010 per pickup.
And Xexzy's going to be 3 seconds back because he was too early on his nuke also. So both with some early nuke issues in Arena 1. Collect power-ups. Let's see. We've got, speaking of nukes, another one for Mr. Dino. Razor Shield for Xexzy.
Good nuke pickup as he was firing into a group. He was able to force a spawn out the door. It really didn't affect his spawn rate, so his kill rate didn't drop too much by using that and chasing better items.
Right now, the weapon's not really favoring either player. Dino deciding to ignore the grenades. Same with Xexzy, wanting to keep the rest of that Razor Shield. Now a spreader in the top for Mr. Dino and vulnerability for Xexzy. So, man, these weapons just not there for either runner, but it is going to be Dino going to maintain that same about 2-second lead going into Eat My Shrapnel, and still no orb for either.
You'd love to see that. Oh, dangerous for Dino, but he escapes the trap of the swirl there as he was running away. Meanwhile, Xexzy's swirl just hanging around, and I think it got him.
Something got him. I don't know if it was a swirl or a piece of shrapnel, but Xexzy taking a costly death there, so Dino could build on that lead unless an orb shows up for Xexzy. Oh, an orb!
Orb for Dino after everything is cleaned up. Xexzy really wants to see that orb here, game. There it is!
That is exactly what you want to see. Equal opportunity drops for both of these runners here. But I'll tell you what, Dino nearly got purple shirted right before he grabbed that orb. That could have been disastrous. 2:10 for the time, 2:15 for Xexzy. So Dino picking up 3 seconds.
Yeah, Xexzy dropped a little bit to the swarmers and a little bit to the death there because these shrapnels build up to their maximum. So not terrible considering the drops before the death, but able to bring it around. Let's see how it goes here in Total Carnage.
Right now, neither player really getting any drops. A key for Xexzy. Mr. Dino, a key for him as well. And he loses the orb.
Oh, this could be a disastrous turn of events. Xexzy has the driver position, even with this rocket for Dino. Keeping that orb healthy will just add to or rather cut to that lead and possibly take the lead.
Yeah, certainly. And he gets clubbed with half a clip left. No, Mr. Dino, another critical mistake here. Does get a refill, though.
Yes, well, getting those rockets, that'll help carry him a bit, but these mistakes are costing him. Razor Shield now, another nice drop, and look at this. It's going to basically be... He walks into a mine!
Oh!
That is a disastrous Total Carnage. Gives up the lead.
And gives up the rest of the rockets he could have used to take down the gunners on the wall. Prince Leaf on line 1.
Except that wasn't even the Leaf edit. That was the top mine. I'm not even sure how he walked into it.
I guess that is now going to be the Dino mine right there, huh?
I suppose. I don't think that's ever been hit like that exiting the room. So Dino mine it is. And Dino might. As well, for that matter, and we missed Taco Bell because we were so shocked. These rockets for Xexzy, what a great starting thing. And now a Razor Shield.
There's an orb back for Mr. Dino.
Get it! What is he doing?
Oh, he was pressing his luck there, waiting till the last second to grab that Razor Shield. Wow, look at these drops.
And Razors and orbs for Dino, my goodness. This is ridiculous. Xexzy will probably be sub 420 in the Mutoid Man's room the way this lineup. More rockets!
My word! Where are these drops on like a 240 run into this room?
And now rockets for Dino! What in the world?
Well, you called it. Sub 420. It's 419 for Xexzy. Mr. Dino, you know, in spite of the problems, he's going to be right there, roughly 11 seconds back with 430. Hold on to your hats, folks.
That death he took at the end of Total Carnage cost him roughly 7 seconds. So there you go. That if there's less than 7, that mine's going to mean everything. Here's Xexzy lining up the ball buster, nails it and pops the arm.
Perfect. And watch out, a delayed swirl there for Mr. Dino. Is he going to get the ball buster?
No.
He doesn't.
He does not. The orb flew out. The way to know it worked is it doesn't come flying out of Mutoid Man's body.
Yep, if it just stops right there, you know you've gotten that ball buster, but it flew away.
That hot start here with that ball buster, the game's like, oh, you're doing too much damage. Let's slow you down a little.
Yeah. Oh, you want to set a tournament record, do you? No, not on my watch. Here's some empty drops. But Mr. Dino not really getting anything either with his empty drops. This is crazy, these drops.
And there's another empty drop, and now Mutoid's sitting on it. It's a key on Xexzy's side.
Wow, Troll Toy Man living up to his name, Brysolf. This is more of a battle of attrition at this point.
This is just like Zap Brannigan's plan for defeating the kill bots, except it's the other way, where you kill nothing.
Yeah, the way this is shaping up, a 7-minute time might win this, Bry.
This is unreal. After that tank trouble, which was like lethal jalapeno hot, this is the most milquetoast thing I think I've ever seen.
Another empty drop! What is going on here?
Chest pops open for Xexzy. It's still like
I know! This is anybody's game in spite of all these empty drops. Here's the rib cage for Mr. Dino, so he's less than a form behind for sure, but now lobbers for Xexzy and a refill if he chooses to get it. Head pops off.
Absolutely. Grab that refill. Easy grab. No problems there. Able to keep firing at Mutoid. Should be able to pop final form here with this lobber. And indeed does. Gets the grenades on the last frame. I love it. Good pickup there. There wasn't much left in the lobbers. Keeping the shrapnels away. Just good play here from Xexzy after that horrendous luck.
And now the penultimate form for Xexzy, or Mr. Dino, excuse me, but this is probably going to be too late, and it is Xexzy. You called it, and you're getting it. We are now essentially at a best of 3, Brysolf. We are not at a 2.
Oh my goodness. Best of 3. I can't believe what we just witnessed after that great tank trouble. Horrendous Mutoid man luck.
And yeah, somehow, some way, Xexzy was able to keep a sub 7 in place in this in these rounds of the second chance bracket. But yeah, this was UGLY Ugly Mutoid Man at its finest. And correct me if I'm wrong, Brysolf, but what the bleep is a spreader?
Unbelievable stuff there, guys. Wow. We're only 4 games into this best of 7. It's a best of 3 now to move on to the next round. Just wow. What an opening salvo here for the first of the money round elimination matches today.
I still can't get over how trolly Mutoid Man was to both runners. I mean, Xexzy, we talked about how he had, tournament world record potential there, with an 81-second fight, and it wasn't even close. It wasn't an 81-second fight. It was at 60, 70 seconds, about a 151-second fight. My word.
If you go over, honestly, for me, if it's over a minute 45 against Mutoid, you want to vomit. So if you're going over 2, man, you're just like, the Exorcist vomiting at that point. Your head is spinning around, I think.
Aquas is not wrong there about what he just had to say. But in any event, that's now in the past. Very pivotal game number 5 coming up between Xexzy and Mr. Dino. One of these two will have 2 shots at winning their match.
And here we go indeed. Game number 5 in this best of 7, all tied up at 2. Who's going to get that very crucial, all-important third key under their name as we go? Xexzy on the left, Mr. Dino on the right. Let's see who's going to have the whole shot cards.
It looks like it is going to be Mr. Dino with the whole shot here.
And Xexzy was too early on the nuke, so he's going to be well back.
Yeah, it's going to be a mid-39 for Mr. Dino. And yeah, Xexzy, he's going to be far back early on with a high 44. So we're talking 5 1/4 seconds roughly.
Doesn't mean a ridiculous amount at this point. We'll have to wait. See an orb for Dino, first drop.
Oh, you'll love to see that. We hadn't seen any of those today here. That's the first opening orb, I do believe.
Xexzy meanwhile gets a foot, but gets an orb, so at least can maintain some touch here. But Dino is in excellent shape, and now with these rockets, should be expanding the lead.
Oh, Mr. Dino with these drops, he should have sub 120 going into this room. And more rockets! Holy Toledo! Not quite.
Not quite, but a 121, very high 121. Good job by Xexzy. Actually gains a second.
Yeah, he gained a second on Mr. Dino and almost got picked off by the swirl there, did Dino. That could have been disastrous.
There's been a lot of adventures in swirl dodging in this matchup. For the most part, they've gotten away with it.
I think there's been a lot of adventures in dodging swirls in the tournament. There's a nuke for Mr. Dino. I don't know if that was intentional or not.
No, that was right in his way as he stepped down. That will cost him about a second to a second and a half. So Xexzy will have gained here by doing nothing, technically.
Ha! So you're telling me that Xexzy is the proverbial Luigi of this particular game?
I don't think this is Mario Party, that's for sure.
Not a chance. It's a 207 and 209. It's about a 2-second race now between the two.
Indeed, it was about a 1.5 second gain there. Good drop for Dino. Does a good job to swing the orb away from the shrapnel. Does lose one piece of that shield, but a good grab.
Yep, so some good start weapons here for Mr. Dino. Going to ignore those grenades, of course, the worst weapon you can have in this situation here. Xexzy, though, not getting really any drops to complement that orb. Okay for Dino, and a dude for Xexzy.
I think Xexzy's just going to ignore it, keep the middle. It was close enough to maybe grab, but if you're not feeling super confident in your ability to keep that middle safe while you do it, the right move there to ignore it and let it despawn.
Hey, game, there is no Pleasure Dome in easy percent. Could you cut it out with these keys? Oh, that was close. Xexzy nearly lost that orb.
Xexzy here, I'm going to ignore the spreader. I think probably the right choice with that shrapnel around. And the shrapnel explodes without exploding, which was nice. 304 for Dino into the bonus room. And will have added a little bit to the lead there with a slightly better RNG.
Just a little bit better drops. It's a 7-second lead. 311 now for Xexzy. As again, it's time for Taco Bell. Product placement with Taco Bell.
With that done, we are ready for tank trouble. Both of them probably thinking, I can't possibly get as much luck as I had last time. What is Dino going to get? It's an invulnerability. That's a fine first drop. It's not amazing, but keeps you safe for a little bit from those bullets.
Right, it does protect you from the bullets, but it will not protect you from
the feet.
Oh, you love to see that. This is an opportunity for Xexzy to take the lead here in this game.
That gives him an early advantage. He's out of the gunners, but Dino's done a great job and now gets rockets as a reward.
Yeah, and he was able to pick him up because he had that invulnerability. He didn't have to worry about the mine there, so that's a pretty fortunate drop. Now a spreader for Xexzy. He'll be able to get control of that middle again. Now Mr. Dino looking for another weapon. It's invulnerability. Not as useful now as it was at the beginning of the room. But he's done a really good job keeping control of the middle. Xexzy, however, is going to take the lead.
That early taking down of the gunners is so crucial here. And good job. Dino recognized the one shrapnel was exploding, so he got rid of it before the other one he was working on. Good job. Really close match. Anyone's game as we get into Mutoid Man's room. Let's wait and see. Opening invulnerability. Can Xexzy? No, will not get to it.
It's a 5-second lead, and that is all. That is one empty drop. Grenades. Dino should be able to take it.
Buster. That's
wow.
The third, I believe, for Xexzy in this matchup. So good at that. Dino gets the ball buster and gets a lobber at the top. What a great setup there.
Oh, the daily double for Mr. Dino. Gets the ball buster, gets the lobbers, now gets the refill. So he's definitely got the lead. Weapon quality a little bit better for Dino at the moment.
Indeed, and has popped the second arm as the first arm comes off for Xexzy. Basically a one-form lead here. Dino gets to the grenades.
Beautiful grab there by Dino.
Xexzy gets grenades. And now lobbers. No one's getting spreaders, but it is setting up nicely for Dino right now. But one spreader can change everything. It's a one-form lead.
Yes. Right now, this is old school strats here, Bryce. They are riding the lobber train. Gotta love it.
Oh, there's those lobbers. They were the prime weapon for a long time. And look at this. It remains a one-form lead. And will he get to that? Yes, Dino continuing to just chain weapons, but gets a refill.
Luckily, he did get a refill, so he's not going to lose much on this, as Mutoid Man was parked on those rockets, so Xexzy going to cost him some time. Now a spreader for Dino.
He got a little bit, but not much in the way of any transition damage. Actually, it would have been better to keep
and now an empty drop for Mr. Dino, but Xexzy still needs a weapon, and he needs a spreader now.
It's a key. It's the right color code, but the wrong item. Dino, with this rocket, will finish it off and will take the W.
And Mr. Dino, I tell you what, man. Great Mutoid Man fight, given what he was worked with. Now Xexzy gets the spreader way too late, unfortunately. So Mr. Dino, our very own Mr. Dino, just one game away from securing at least $20 in this tournament. He'll have 2 shots to do so, Bri.
And there's a reset there. I'll make sure they're ready to go. We'll get them underway for game 6. Guys, are we going to 7? That would be a great channel prediction. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Know what I mean? Go check that out.
I agree.
I will give you my thoughts once I get them underway. Cards, feel free to make your prediction first so I can totally pick the other things. You've been wrong about everything so far.
Well, you know what? If I've been wrong about everything, I'm going to say we're going to see a game number 7. I think Xexzy is going to find a way somehow or other, whether it's his gameplay or the RNG, one or the other. I don't know how he's going to do it, but somehow we're going to see a game number 7. That is my prediction. And if Mr. Dino wins, he can thank me later.
I think we're going 7. I have to agree with you, Cards, so we can be wrong together.
Alrighty then. So we've got our channel prediction ready for you, ladies and gentlemen. Will there be a game 7? Yes or no? Make your predictions now.
Good luck.
Threw my numbers in, and we are underway, guys. Dino, Mr. Dino, pardon me, on the right. Xexzy on the left. 3-2, Mr. Dino. Can Xexzy force the game 7, or are we going to end this one in 6? Hopefully, Telio and Jack are already live. Either way, they'll be starting up soon. But for now, we focus on this matchup, Cards. Another nuke opportunity for Dino. Can he line it up here? He does, but he just gets an extra spawn amount.
So very unlucky there for Mr. Dino. In spite of that, though, he's still going to have a little bit of a lead on Xexzy. You're talking a fraction of a second. This is one of the closest we've had so far in the match for entries into collect power-ups. You got to love it.
Indeed you do. Let's see who's going to get that good opening salvo of a drop. A foot for Dino. Rockets again for Xexzy. Been right in that vitamin R. Jack and Miss Wedge would be salivating with these opening drops. He loves those rockets.
Oh, he certainly does here. Now he's got a nuke, does Xexzy. Mr. Dino not really getting any good drops here. Vulnerability, again, that's something when you don't have...
Especially with that foot, this is a great combo for Dino. You can really run around the room and smash things up, and gets an orb here near the end of the room.
Yeah, that
will have the lead.
He will have the lead, but I'll tell you what, Mr. Dino, if the RNG would have not favored him, he could have lost that orb just as fast as he picked it up. But nevertheless, he's just 4 seconds back at this. Oh, the swirl.
Swirl gets Xexzy. Like I said, everyone's been living dangerously with that swirl. And honestly, Dino's struggling a bit with the numbers, and then steps on a nuke, so some time wasted, and then a nuke on top of it when it wasn't necessary. Couldn't get away from it.
No, it was right on his feet. There was just no dodging that.
He probably could have, but it would have been tough. I agree. A very difficult step around.
Spreader now for Mr. Dino should be able to keep control the rest of the way, but Xexzy with the rocket will have a much better chance of controlling the end. Keeps the lead with the 205, but again, he is orbless.
Orbless gets a key, still has some rockets, but will need something good here. The time's going to start bleeding. Rockets will keep him moving temporarily. What's it going to be? It's what, about an 8-second lead, by the way?
About a 9-second lead for Xexzy. It was a 2:14 for Mr. Dino. There's a spreader. Will he be able to get to it? Yes, but
good job.
Yeah.
Good job there. And meanwhile, the weapons and good protective here for Xexzy, but needs to see that orb.
Absolutely, he's been getting great weapons, just no orbs. So if he doesn't continue to see these great weapons, Dino might be able to take that lead, even if he doesn't get weapon drops. But the spreader was good.
Okay, but not what he wants to see. What's next? Invulnerability. Meanwhile, Dino ignoring the extra life. The dude! And continuing to move. And now you see where Xexzy gets into some trouble.
Yep, right here. Now there's a nuke. That'll give him a little bit of a breather, but he's got to start seeing better things.
Absolutely here.
Look at this! In spite of no orb, he still has the lead, 308, but you see that lead shrink to 5 seconds because the shrapnel blew up on Mr. Dino. Otherwise, it would have been about a 3-second race.
Absolutely, and it's time for some Taco Bell. Taco Bell. Product placement with Taco Bell. Yokiro Game 7.
Ooh, we very well might see that. I'll take a churro.
Dino making up a bit of ground, but as we said, the longer this orb discrepancy lasts here, Xexzy with great rockets in a great position.
Oh my goodness, and Dino has a little bit of spreader. A nuke!
Solid drop there for Dino. Didn't take advantage. He could have got rid of one gunner, but he was a little scattered with his shooting.
Does manage to take down one gunner now, but he still has one left to deal with, and vulnerability now for Xexzy.
Yeah. Orb, though. So now it's going to come down to weapon drops, and Xexzy with more rockets, probably growing his lead here.
Oh, he absolutely is going to be growing that lead here. Vulnerability, now he could shred through the enemies if he chooses to do so. Kind of tough to do. Well, I was just about to say, kind of tough to do when you don't have a foot. Gets the foot as vulnerability runs out. Wow. But look at this room by Xexzy. Without an orb.
Again, that opening rocket means so much for making the room much, much safer. Xexzy, again, has the potential for sub-6.
You know what?
The game's going to serve up.
This could be a new tournament record, orbless. Xexzy's had no orb, am I right?
I don't believe so. The record in the tournament is a 6:37, I believe.
Then he's got a chance. A big chance.
Yeah, he had an orb. He
did have
Dino,
one.
Yeah. And now, spreader here for Dino. He did manage to die. The hitbox isn't always live there at the start, but he gets it. And this manual is going to help Xexzy a little bit, but look at that. It's basically a dead heat now.
I didn't realize that Xexzy had an orb somewhere in that race. It must have been brief.
A lobber here for Dino. Lobber for Xexzy. Gets into vulnerability, but can ride his clip here for another drop. It's a lobber. A foot for Dino. Again, can ride the clip to get another one, but that key is garbage.
Yep, but he was able to grab it, hoping for a better drop. What is it going to be? Another lobber. It's, again, the lobber train here. We're seeing the old school strats.
Neck and neck here with these lobbers cards. Wow, really close. It's going to come down to accurate fire. And Xexzy, slight lead.
Yes, one spreader may be the difference, and you're right. It's a slight lead. Could come down to the final form of Mutoid. But an empty drop, no, it was a punch weapon.
Last frame, he picks it up. His patience pays off. Firing home shots here. Will Xexzy be? No, Dino was in the final form first.
Oh, we're going to have a photo finish. And this is the tournament life on the line for Xexzy. And Dino gets run over.
An unbelievable turn of events, but he does get a lobber. Meanwhile, Xexzy can't get the grenades. A bit of a mistake. There's rockets. Will he be able to finish him off first?
Oh, this is going to be so close for myself. Who's going to get in? Dino or Xexzy? The tournament. Oh my goodness.
It's going to be too close.
It's too close.
Let's see what we get. Keep in mind, their timers are almost in sync. This is insane.
Oh, this is going to be a review. This is definitely going to be a review.
I'm going to the booth. Cards, why don't you lay out the next match and the matches on Monday while I review this? Oh, my God.
It looks like that Dino might have it by 3/5 of a second, but this is too close to call. This is too close to call. We are going to the booth for an official review. Unbelievable stuff here. To me, it looked like Xexzy has forced game number 7. Wow, this is one for the ages, folks. So coming up after this match, if this one was a lot of fun, as Brysolf would say, this has been a slobber knocker of a match. We've got
easy for you to say, Cards.
I know, say it 3 times fast without losing it. Jacobus Wedge versus Telio 1 coming up. You're talking less than 4 seconds difference between PBs. You've got Telio 1, you've got the 2-time runner-up in Jacobus Wedge. One of them moves on to the $20 round. The loser will be eliminated, but will still take home $15 from the tournament. My goodness gracious. And if that wasn't enough, tomorrow we've got another pair of elimination showdowns between some fine contestants. We've got the French Connection Oopla versus the Cinderella Story Firebroth. That's going to be a heck of a matchup. But Oopla been lowering those times down. He's got now a 5:33, 2/9 of a second behind Prince Leaf for 4th place all time. Then we have got one of the best rising stars of the tournament in Aquas taking down the veteran E.T. Goham in that final elimination $15 money round. And Aqua's getting that 541. ET Goham with the 555. And don't forget, Aqua's also been putting in some work into the normal percent category as well. So we've got two more exciting matches coming up tomorrow, starting at 5 p.m. Eastern here on GG Speedruns. You do not want to miss it. So as Brycehoff continues to do a frame count on both of these runners, again, from the naked eye, it does look like Xexzy just edged out our very own MrDino by roughly 3/5 of a second, give or take a few ticks. But if the review shows that MrDino actually held on, then this is over, and he wins 4-2. He moves on to the next round. Remember, the two matchups today, Xexzy, MrDino, Jackamus, Wedge, and Talio, the two winners will face off against each other in the next round of the second chance bracket. My word.
All right, so upon review at the start, it appears that on the fade out, I actually have to give a 0.3 advantage to Xexzy based on the first chunk of fade out. Going the other way, Xexzy cut his timer a little early. Based on the timers that were up, there's a 0.6 difference, which means Xexzy at 0.9, but the cut was probably about half a second. So I think Xexzy, by about 0.4, just doing a rough estimate looking at it, takes this matchup. We are going to a game 7. It was really tight.
Wow, 2/5 of a second, Brycehoff. You can't get much closer than that. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's right, folks. We've got ourselves another game number 7 in a best of 7 series. You love to see it. So make your predictions to who is going to win game number 7. I'm going to tell you right now, momentum is a fickle mistress. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Xexzy's going to win game number 7 and take the match. What do you think, Brycehoff? My commentator partner is speechless. He can't believe what he just saw in that last match. And I certainly can't blame him, considering he was also the one who reviewed it as well.
I'm just informing our racers. This is an important race. You know, I just informed them of the difference. Just take a second, take a breath, get composed, get focused. There's no need to rush in here. We're going to give them a second to just catch their breath or whatever, because they had to wait through that with no further updates than me saying, review in process, please hold. So, oh my goodness, guys, what a turn of events that was. That was ridiculous. We will be underway here with game number 7. When that is over, as the lead commentator of Smash TV here, Cards Fan, was telling you, we still have Telio 1 and Jackamus. They are going to have a tough road to hoe to follow this one. And I know people talked about 40 Watt and Firebroth as match of the tournament, but I got to say, this one's been punching in pound for pound, just as good and if not better.
This one, I have to agree with you, Brycehoff. This one is up there. To me, it's easily in the top 3 for best matches of the tournament. Is it number 1? That remains to be seen. I think, I'm going to tell you right now, if we have another tight finish, even if it's not a photo finish, let's say it's like less than 10 seconds, you really have to think about this one being the match of the tournament, Brycehoff.
Yeah, it's a possibility. I like the Firebroth 40 watt matchup, but neither one played particularly well. And we are underway here. Xexzy versus Dino, and pretty close to sync on their actual screens. Timer, I think, started a smidge early on Xexzy's side, so it could be a small thing to keep in mind if it's close. Cards, game 7. It's happening in the opening round of the elimination matches here.
Yeah, you just love to see it. You love to see these tight matches. You like to see them go the distance. And now, the only thing that could top this off is if we see a very close game number 7. But right now, looking at these two, it is going to be Xexzy with the hole shot. Not by much, though. You know, you're talking 41, 41 and a half, half second.
Not even. Honestly, that's basically a tie. Let's see who gets that great opening drop here. Xexzy's been riding the rocket train to success here and in tank trouble. It's an vulnerability on the feet. It's a razor shield for Dino. Small advantage, Dino.
Yeah, definitely. And I know you say it's pretty much even, but remember, at half second, it was 2/5 of a second, 4/10 of a second that Xexzy just won by. So you never know. Every tick of the clock matters.
Absolutely. And yes, as Prince Leaf, who's put up the prize for the best matchup in the tournament, says we will have a lengthy discussion about things as the tournament moves along. Dino gets a nuke to finish the room.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
123 again, orbless going into this. This is crazy.
It's no longer a half second, that's for sure.
Not a chance. We're talking 9 seconds now as MrDino played extremely well with what was given to him. He's actually just getting absolutely hosed by the RNG and collect powers, and then gets swirled.
Unfortunately, the shrapnel took out his shielding, and that allowed the swirl inside. However, gets an orb as a drop, so should be able to get control here at least.
That could be important for Xexzy. Rockets for Dino should be able to keep the room under control, but if he doesn't see an orb soon, Xexzy's going to be able to take that lead and maybe steal this match.
Dino, for a second, I thought was his last shrapnel there and was a bit of a time waste trying to use the invulnerability, but gets it done, has the rockets, and gets an orb, so he finds them out and gets a little bit of help here.
He actually picked up a second on Xexzy because of that death. It's now a 10-second lead for Dino.
It's now going to come down to who plays better, who keeps the orb healthy. Xexzy almost loses the orb as I say that.
Yeah, whoever drops the orb could be in some big, big trouble in this race, considering what we have seen these two put up today. They put up some good times. We haven't seen, though, a spectacular time yet. We've seen good time.
Great nuke by Xexzy. 3 shrapnel.
Oh!
Is that a razor shield on the feet for Dino?
It was a razor shield on the feet for MrDino. So now he'll be able to keep control of that middle, and Xexzy getting no weapons now.
Potential finish here.
Right as I say that, rockets.
Is he going to use it? He does. I think that's the room. Great nuke by Dino to finish things off.
And I believe that's the fastest time we've seen so far into the bonus room with a 3:01. Really good job there by MrDino. Great recognition. Xexzy using a nuke to close out the room, but he lost another couple of seconds. Still in range with the 3:13. No weapons to take with them.
And there's no time for product placement. This is game number 7. We are focused. We are ready. Let's see what Tank Trouble has. Dino's been getting bad first drops. Xexzy's been getting great first drops. Let's see what comes out here. Nuke, not bad, but it's in a bad position.
Yeah, he still is able to take down one of the gunners, so at least that was something. But yeah, if Xexzy can keep these good drops coming as the opening drop, what does he get? Same drop.
Decent drop. He'll be able to get rid of the gunners if he focuses on one. The other one's been damaged. He's still working it. Gets an invulnerability. He's good now. He got the gunner.
All right, so now it could come down to who can keep the orb, who gets the better weapons. Right now, they're not getting really anything. A dude in a bad spot for Xexzy. But here comes Vitamin R for Dino. Good pickup.
Gets it. Keeps the orb healthy here. Keeps swinging through. Xexzy keeping the orb alive here.
More Vitamin R, I tell you. Look at this pace. 412.
PB potential, tournament record potential. Rockets now for Xexzy will help. Needs to avoid those shrapnel, and it gets him.
Oh, the shrapnel loses the orb, loses the rockets, and Xexzy going to be well behind.
He's in trouble here. He's going to need the Mutoid Man troll help here, and that late swirl hurts Dino's chances. A bit of help there now for Xexzy.
23 seconds is the lead, and with
Dino gets lucky. He didn't kill the swirl before getting the lobber.
Yeah, he used the invulnerability to take it down. That was good thinking on Dino's part there.
He got it with the lobber cards. He didn't get it with the invulnerability.
Really? Wow. And that's hard to do, Brysolf. Oh, Mutoid Man is parking on something. I don't even know what it is. Spreader!
Oh, finally a spreader. We've been spreaderless in good spots for a few matches. Dino has a chance for a glitchtoid here.
Invulnerability! Can he get to it?
He recognizes it. It lines up perfectly. Mutoid Man really helping Dino out.
Already on the final form, or the penultimate form, excuse me.
Goodness gracious, he completely obliterated him.
Wow.
Crazy.
It's not going to be a tournament PB, but sub 6 is still very much alive.
Absolutely. These rockets, though, are slowing him down, but that's what Xexzy has as well. Not what you want to see. Final form Dino.
Oh, that spreader came just a little bit too late there for Dino to get a sub-6. Still could get it with these lobbers.
He's going to have to be a little more accurate than he's been here. He runs out now. That grenade might be enough, but I don't know.
No, won't be enough to get a sub-6, but it will be enough to advance to the next round. Mr. Dino had a really good tank trouble, but then Mutoid Man, after toying with him for the first 30 seconds or so, gives him the spreader, followed up by an invulnerability, and that one spreader right there ended up being the turning point of this entire match. Dino moving on.
I have to say, as important as that spreader was, don't get me wrong, that was huge for Dino. I'm going to throw this out here right now. What gave him that lead and allowed him to go was the underrated first drop Razor Shield, or second drop Razor Shield in collect power-ups. People always say, oh, they're not that important. That drop bought him a big lead, and he rode that all the way to victory in game number 7.